Happy February 6th. JLD here, and welcome to Strategy Today. This show, we're going to talk about the big rebrand. We're going to go ahead and talk about the earnings call highlights and do a recap on that. I'm going to give it a grade as well. We're going to do a little bit of a look back to 2020. Plus, I have an unbelievable Michael Saylor clip where he talks about the 3 E's that you are not going to want to miss. Please make sure to remember this is not financial advice, and comment below. What do you think of this rebrand? Let me know. What do you think about the earnings call? Where are you watching from? A lot of people in the comments, by the way, have let me know that you are sipping your cup of coffee right now, as I am, as you are watching this show. So a big cheers to everybody out there who starts their day with strategy today. So thank you for that. Cheers to you. Thank you for just being a part of this ride, and let's dive on in to the first chat of the day, which is going to be all about Michael Saylor's post, New Brand, Same Strategy. And let me just go ahead and click on this, because here we have the new brand of MicroStrategy, which is strategy. And you know what? If Michael can drop the micro, I can drop the micro. So welcome to Strategy Today. If you did a little double take when I first did the introduction here, that was A, on purpose, but B, legit. This show will forever now be known as Strategy Today. And by forever, I mean until Michael Saylor decides to do another rebrand down the line. Who knows? But Strategy Today, it's going to be the same great content coming at you 7 days a week, except for the very rare time where I maybe am traveling and I can't get to a show. But it's going to be a lot of fun this year, and this earnings call proves just that. Michael Sullivan has a pretty interesting thing to say that I wanted to share. Bold prediction time. The MSTR rebrand is transitory. In marketing, there is a concept of a bridge brand. This is a brand / logo a company uses to transition from one identity to another. In this case, I think the final form will be obvious once you see it. Strategy Bank. So what he's suggesting is one day in a future earnings call, Michael Saylor will reveal Strategy Bank with, of course, the Bitcoin B. Now, who knows? Time will tell. Right now, it's just strategy. But cool things are to come in this. And speaking of cool things, let's talk about the earnings call. Before I get into what Bitcoin Overflow has to say, which is awesome, I will personally say that I think the earnings call was great. I personally give it a B+ on a grading scale. I think the Q3 earnings call back in November was an A+. It was, to kind of give like a sports analogy, it was like a team that not many people had heard of and wasn't expected to do a ton, coming out and winning the World Series. Or for my international viewers, it's like winning the World Cup. Like that's what the Q3 earnings call was. And winning the World Cup as like a smaller country, like not one of the power, football / soccer countries. Whereas the Q4 earnings report, to me, it was a B+. It was great. It was solid. We're going to go over some great things about it. But it's like a repeat. It's like that champion repeats. Is it amazing to repeat as Super Bowl champions, as World Cup champions? It's unbelievable to repeat. It's so hard to repeat. But at the same time, it's kind of expected that you're at least going to be in the conversation. So strategy and Michael Saylor stepped up, and they delivered great content on this earnings call. I hope most of you watched it. If you didn't, you can just go to YouTube or Twitter. The replay is there everywhere. A lot of cool things came out of it. I think they did a great job. I give them a B+. They really hit everything that I wanted them to hit. I just have to keep them in the B range / B+ range, because there was none of those like epic surprises and just unbelievable bombs that Michael Saylor dropped in the Q3 earnings call. But guess what? You can't and you shouldn't be doing that every single time. So I'm looking forward to Q1, Q2, Q3, and Q4 of 2025's earnings calls. They're going to be great. So let's go over the highlights as Bitcoin Overflow sought. Number one, new MSTR metrics website, strategy.com. And by the way, highly recommend checking this website out. It's got a lot of cool things going on there. No FASB for Q4. That was reiterated. There's going to be a Q1 start. So get ready for an awesome Q1 earnings call. The countdown has already begun, T-minus 3 months. Reiterated target leverage ratio of 20 to 30% of Bitcoin holdings. And again, we're down at like 12 or 13% right now. So get ready to ramp up. And how are they going to do that? Well, they reiterated the shift in focus to fixed income instruments in 2025. Those convertible bonds are going to be coming at us hot and fast in a great way. And that's going to ramp up our leverage. That's going to ramp up our volatility. That's going to ramp up our vitality. I'm excited for that. I hope you are too. ATM activity accounted for 2.9% of the total trading volume, emphasized prudence in deployments. So they kind of suggested they're going to slow this down a little bit in the foreseeable future, but they're never going away from it because when it makes sense, they believe and they know actually from data that it is very accretive to us, the shareholders. Preferred stock, Strike, to be listed on NASDAQ today. That's February 6th. Further issuance of Strike via ATM, which Jeff Park says is the absolute perfect instrument. So we're going to see how that works out. I'm excited. It's going to be awesome. New metrics, BTC gain and BTC dollar gain. In the Q3 earnings call 3 months ago, they talked about BTC yield and what that meant. They came up with a new metric because they realized this is going to be a better way for more people to really grasp what they're doing. So they're going to be going over and focusing the BTC gain in reports and the BTC dollar gain. You can see that on their website at strategy.com. And in the earnings call, they go into this in quite detail, Michael specifically, and he does a great job with that. Might issue a fixed coupon bond. That was a really interesting comment that Michael Saylor made, and that's something that we should really keep our eyes out for because that's, again, just another instrument to benefit who? You, me, the shareholders. BTC Yield Target upped to 15% for 2025. Back in 2024 for the Q3 earnings reports, they gave a range of 6 to 10% for the BTC yield, and everybody was like, whoa, 6 to 10%. That's insanity. This time they're just like, wow, well, we way under promised and over delivered. So we're just going to up it right now to 15%. And by the way, they're going to over deliver on that. They know it, you know it, I know it. But, that's the targets. That's the minimum. BTC gain target of 10 billion for 2025. So again, that's a minimum. And Michael Saylor talks about this in detail on the earnings call. Rebrand from MicroStrategy to Strategy. And welcome again to Strategy today. Overall, no major surprises, mostly what we were expecting. I love the new MSTR metric site, major quality of life improvement for analysts to get easy access to metrics direct from the source. And let's keep moving. And as we do, I will say, I love the new brand colors as well. Orange and black. We're just being true to who we are. We are a Bitcoin treasury company. Bitcoin is orange and black. Now Strategy is orange and black. Wow, says Adam. What an eventful day. A rebrand, earning results, and then a webinar closing out with Peak Saylor. Some cool things. 100% confirmation of new FASB accounting rule adoption for the next earnings. Finally. So this is official. The next earning call, which is coming in 3 months, they're going to be taking into account FASB accounting, and there's going to be an explosion in the earnings per share and all that jazz. Bitcoin gain is a new financial performance metric, a great way to orange pill the normies, Bitcoin native alternative to P&E. 3, confirmation of intention to leverage up with convertibles. They're going at this hard. Get excited. 4, updated BTC yield target from 10% to 15%. And again, that was actually 6 to 10%. And now they're just saying, hey, we're saying straight 15%. So it's really like a 9% increase from the base of what they said last time, which is huge, absolutely huge. And like almost a triple going from 6 to 15. So not quite, but close. BTC gain set at 10 billion plus for 2025. Again, that's the minimum. My questions I would have asked the strategy team, is there a long-term vision where strategy moves beyond equity-funded BTC acquisition and starts offering BTC-backed financial products, loans, bonds, etc.? And I think, honestly, Michael Saylor would have said, we are always going to do what makes the most sense for our shareholders. So I think the answer would have been, if that makes sense in the future, then yes. And then how much are we actually planning to leverage up in Q1? And to me, that's pretty obvious. They're going to 25 to 30%. Will they get there in Q1? Who knows? But they're definitely going to get there in this year, 2025. But I can see them getting at least close to 20% in Q1, if not all the way to 25 to 30. Adam just dropped this, and I just had to go through it because it's so powerful. Ultimate Strategy Q4 earnings results recap. Strategy, formerly MicroStrategy, has officially shed its corporate skin and emerged as the apex Bitcoin entity, the first true sovereign treasury of the digital age. The fourth quarter results are in, and they are bullish as ever. Bitcoin dominance solidified, 471,000 plus Bitcoin locked and loaded, making Strategy the undisputed king of corporate Bitcoin accumulation. Q4 acquisition of 218,000 Bitcoin for $20 billion, the ultimate Bitcoin buying blitzkrieg. Will this be the greatest investment ever made in a single quarter? Quite possibly. The only person who's ever going to beat that, by the way, is Strategy themselves. BTC yield of 74% in 2024. Crazy. Translation, relentless, unhinged stacking at a pace that makes fiat execs tremble. 2025 Bitcoin yield target adjusted at 15% because absolute dominance needs recalibration as we build the hyper Bitcoinized future. Financial engineering masterclass. 15 billion raised via equity offerings in Q4 because why not print your own fiat casino chips and swap them for digital gold? Another 2.4 billion raised in early 2025. No breaks, only acceleration. 3 billion in 0% convertible notes issued at $672 conversion price. Perpetual strike preferred stock introduced at an 8% yield. A move so deviously brilliant, even Wall Street is confused. Software biz, who cares? BT Treasury is the show. Revenue, 127 million, down 3%. Does it even matter? Blah, blah, blah. Product support revenues, negative 10.8%. Other services, negative 20%. Again, irrelevant. The only support that matters is BTC at 100,000. The death of traditional accounting. Fair value accounting adopted from January 1st, 2025. So it's already happened. We're already a month into fair value accounting. It's happening. Every balance sheet on Wall Street is about to look like an etch-a-sketch in an earthquake. 12 billion added to retain earnings overnight. This is what happens when you own the monetary black hole. 2025 is a year of BTC gain. The new KPI, BTC gain, is set at 10 billion plus for 2025 because simple Bitcoin stacking is too easy. Now they will measure dominance in raw dollar terms. Warning, Strategy is becoming a full-blown monetary entity. And he just goes into some amazing other things here and ends by saying, grab popcorn, watch history as Saylor continues to dominate the capital markets. Stack harder. Boom. Then I wanted to share a couple of MicroStrategists, great posts here. Just killing it as always. In the Q3 earnings call, they said they were targeting 6 to 10% BTC yield, and we got 158% price action since August 1st, 2024. Now in the Q4 call, they tell us they're targeting 15% BTC yield in 2025. Grab some popcorn. And here is the Bitcoin per diluted share. This is where obviously we're at right now. This dark blue line is the actual increase in the Bitcoin per diluted share. And this is what the projected is up. Just grab some popcorn and watch. And then below this, he shared rebranding, less ATM, more leverage, higher BTC yield targets. Let's go. Boom. Here's Marty's amazing model. Moving it over to here. And then, of course, finishing up with that. And speaking of finishing up, I wanted to finish up with MicroStrategist where he says, MSTR is up 2,624% since August 10th, 2020, when they adopted BTC. The company calls this date the beginning of the Bitcoin Standard Era, BSE. The message to every company, organization, family, and individual is clear. Get on board or get left behind. And you, my friends, watching this right now, you are on board this train that is going to Mars. So congratulations. I'm happy for you. I'm proud of you. And let's have Michael Saylor take away the 3 E's.
What is it about Bitcoin that enables it to do so much?
It's the 3 E's. It's ethics, it's economics, and it's engineering. And in ethics, it's this idea of a fair ledger and a fair asset. Satoshi created a way, Satoshi gave it away, Satoshi went away, right? If you want the roadmap for an ethical launch of a decentralized digital commodity, an open protocol for anything, it's you create it, you give it away, you disappear, right? And you know, Prometheus is not standing around taking 10% of the revenue from fire, you know, and suing you for patent infringement a million years after Prometheus gave us fire. Just create it, give it away, go away. And so that idea is a very profound idea because you think about how many corporations and governments in the world where you have the bringer of truth or the bringer of the solution, and they want to stick around and benefit from it, right? And so I think Bitcoin sets that example. The second thing is it's economically sound, right? You can create in theory, a digital commodity that's inflationary. It's like, I can create and give away a protocol that inflates 5% a year, and I can go away and disclaim beneficial ownership, but it's still messed up. Like, it's still defective. Like 5% a year means it just keeps inflating. So this simple idea, which is such an elegant idea, pick a number, don't change the number. How important is it? Well, every machine in the world works on it. Like, every computer in the world works. And if you actually want to warble 9 to be 9.5 and 9.25, and if you want deflection on the idea, it destroys the machine, right? The reason that we use steel is it doesn't deflect. The reason we use math is it doesn't deflect. So this idea of a fixed number that nobody could change, that no corporation could corrupt, that no politician could corrupt, that no political movement could corrupt, incredibly powerful. The third prong of the Bitcoin stool is engineering, and the thing that's beautiful about Bitcoin is it's a balanced, stable, engineered system. But the way you get there is by combining energy, electricity, and something thermodynamically scarce with hardware, with semiconductors, with software, right? And with cryptography. So there's like an element of math and cryptography, and there's an element of semiconductors, and you're running them with electricity. When you put all three of them together in an open protocol, then what you have is something which is stable, that spreads virally, and eventually you get, the ASIC wars. And then what happens is people build big Bitcoin mining centers, and everybody thinks, oh, that's bad, that's centralizing. But of course, the mining centers suck up so much electricity that they eventually have to run to the edge of the grid, and they're always running away from the center of civilization to the person that has the stranded energy, because you need almost zero cost energy. So what does that do? Well, that creates a phrase, balance of power, right? I mean, which is, kind of, it means a lot of different things, but we need a balance of power for the system to be stable. And how do I make it unstable? I take away the hardware component. If I go to proof of stake, all of a sudden your balance of power means, well, I don't need $5 billion a year of electricity. So that means people that have electricity are not actors, and I don't need hardware anymore. And that means that there's no inertia from the hardware. And now I just need a software node. And now, of course, all of those nodes can be running in the Amazon cloud, or they could collapse down to 27 computers in one city. And you wouldn't know, and B, you wouldn't care. And so the system becomes very, very fragile. Aeronautical engineers are very sensitive to this. One of the reasons that they like Bitcoin, I think, is in an aircraft, you have to consider all these factors. The shape of the aircraft matters, but the avionics matter, but the balance matters, but the conditions matter. And when you design the aircraft, someone goes, yeah, I just want to change the couch. You want to change the couch and put a different couch in an aircraft. They might charge you $96,000 of engineering to actually run the weights, the balances. They got to consider, will the couch catch fire? In the event of a crash landing, right? Is the couch rated for 16 Gs? Or will the couch break loose and kill everybody? Et cetera. And so you have all of these second order, third order, fourth order concerns in aviation and aeronautical engineering. And you don't really have those concerns if you're just a hacker. And so people that are computer programmers, they just write code. It works. Their world is very simple. But people that build spaceships, and people that build airplanes, they actually have to consider a circumstance where one system fails, one system gets jammed, there's a storm, there's wind shear, and all of those things are irrelevant except in the last 15 seconds of the flight when they're certainly going to kill you. And they have to design the system such that in the last 15 seconds of the flight, if such and such happens, we don't all die.
There you have it, my friends. Another episode of Strategy Today. Make sure to comment below. Let us know what you think about MicroStrategy's rebranding to Strategy. What do you think about our rebranding from MicroStrategy Today to Strategy Today? I love your feedback. I love your comments, your thoughts on the earnings call, what you think about the highlights, the lowlights. Maybe you give a grade. I gave a B+. What do you give it for a grade? And we're comparing it, by the way, to the A+, in my opinion, that was the Q3 earnings call. That will always be the earnings call of all earnings call that kicked off the revolution that you and I are now a part of, which is unbelievable. Speaking of an unbelievable revolution, my daily DCA was filled yesterday at $344. I did it at 10:15 a.m. Eastern time. And I'm just stacking every single day. I'm stacking a little bit more MSTR. And somebody did comment yesterday. They're like, I can't wait till your quantity of your buying is at 0.4, 0.3, 0.2. I can't wait either, because I'm going to keep stacking $211, $210. And guess what? My shares are going to keep going down. The number of shares that I have, the fractions of shares that I have, until hopefully there's a 0.00 something in there, because we know what that means. But do remember, this is not financial advice, and that I'm just doing this for you, for entertainment, for value. So if you want to pay it forward, comment below, keep those conversations going, give me a like, share this with your friends, and remember, there is no second best.
What's the second best? There is no second best.